Wow, women do have a lot of influence. And so we have two women here today who are directors. They're theater majors, and we have Linda Torres and Landy Rodriguez. So Linda, I heard you're directing a play. You directed one last week, and it's still the same play this week?
Yes, it's the same one.
How do you feel about directing?
Well, I've done everything in the theater. I've acted, I've done lights, sounds. I think the last thing that I needed to do was directing, so when I finally got the opportunity, it's hard. It's a very hard job.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that directing a play was such a hard job, but after the shows opened last week and I saw like the final product on stage with my cast, I was so proud of them. So it's hard, but it's a very rewarding experience.
Yeah, I took theater, but I never actually directed, so I wouldn't know how that feels like. So you're also directing a play, same day, same time, or?
Mm-hmm.
All right. How do you feel about directing?
It's so scary.
Was it really?
I think it's scary. It's one of the scariest things I've done.
A lot of pressure?
It's the show that you have, and you pick it out, and you pick the actors, and you pick the scene and the stage and the colors and the costumes, and if
you do all that?
We do all that. We help with all that. We've got a lot of influence on those decisions. It's just, if things don't fit together, it kind of all feels like it falls on your shoulders at the end of the day, and it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of, it's scary.
Yeah. Are you both theater majors? Your theater?
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Are you doing both, media arts and theater?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Cool. So with your theater major, do you plan to act in the future? Do you plan directing in the future? Do you know what you want to do?
I want to go into technical theater. I want to do behind the scenes work, building the stage and making the costumes and doing all the little pieces that make the show more magical, more appealing for the audience.
Oh, wow. What about you?
Actually, the same. I did acting throughout high school, but once I got to college and I got a little bit more of the technical aspect taste of theater, I'm leaning more into that career and sounds, like doing sounds for that. Yeah.
Do you find directing, like as you're directing right now, is it an after-school hobby? Do you find it as a hobby itself? Or it's more of a job?
I'm looking forward to directing again in the future, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, per se.
What about yourself?
I wouldn't call it, I wouldn't call it a hobby.
Okay.
Because it is a lot of hard work, and like Landy said, I'm directing this one, and I'm thinking I'm gonna take a break, and if I get the opportunity again in the future, then I'll take it. But right now, as soon as this one's over, I'm taking a bit of a vacation time.
Yeah. And like Landy said, she said that, you guys pick out the costumes, you pick out colors, everything. Some of it seems kind of fun to do, but what is the hardest thing about directing? What are the disadvantages?
I think the hardest thing is what I see in my head that I want to happen on stage. Sometimes it's really hard for me to go and explain that to my actors and to my lighting and sound technicians. And I think I don't know, I can't count the times I thought someone in my cast was going to punch me for the next Harry Potter reference in a long list of, when, but it didn't happen, so I guess I worked around that difficulty.
Difficulty, wow. What about for you? What's the hardest thing?
You know what? It's actually, like she said, it's the exact same thing. When I got the script for mine, I saw the story, how it played out, and it played out in my head, and the characters moved this certain way, and that's how it's hard to tell the cast what you see in your head, how you want them to act on stage, how you want your story to be portrayed on stage. But if you sit down with them, you talk about the characters, what you want to get out of this experience of the play, and you work together, you can accomplish it. But it's hard. Once you see it in your head, to actually putting it on stage, that's the hard part.
And what's the easiest thing? What do you like? Well, what do you like about directing? Like, what's the easiest thing?
What I like about directing is that even though it was a stressful process, as soon as opening night came around, and I hugged my actors and told them all good luck, and I went and I sat in the audience, and it was just so awesome to see how everything fell together.
Oh, wow.
And it was cool. It was like being responsible for the evolution of a living thing.
Wow. So you actually sit down in the audience. You're not like behind the stage or anything telling them what to do?
As soon as our last tech rehearsal is over, we have to not touch it again and not do any more directing and not make any changes, and we get to sit and just grit our teeth and hope everything goes according to plan.
So what happens?
We have our stage managers, which are like our right hand. So after opening night, it's their show. I mean, we can give them a little 1 or 2 words, but after opening night, it's their show. They're the ones that are responsible for what happens. Our assistant director and our stage managers.
Wow. So Linda, your play's about like Charlie Brown, like the series Charlie Brown, only when they're older. So what do you want to tell us a little bit more, a little sneak peek of what it's about? Don't tell us the end or anything, just a little sneak peek so we can have the audience who are watching to go see your play this week.
All right, well, my play is called Doxy's God, Confessions of a Teenage Blockhead. And yes, it's the Charlie Brown gang, the friends, the Sally, Marcy, Peppermint Patty, and now they're in high school. They're grown up and in high school, and they deal with issues such as bullying, there's eating disorders, there's some drug references.
Wow.
Some sexual references. It's for mature audience.
Okay, no kids.
No kids, definitely no kids.
No kids.
Because there's also a lot of cursing in there.
Okay.
And yes, it is a dark comedy, but it deals with also issues on like homophobia and all of those, and how one character goes through so much and just deals with all of those issues around him.
You chose this topic yourself?
Yeah, I chose it.
What made you choose this topic? Why was it such an impact on you? And I want to do this for my cast. I want them to do it. Why?
Well, I was going through a lot of scripts, and I was sitting with 2 of my cast members. We were reading through scripts, and we found that one, and the first thing we see is Charlie Brown. And of course, who doesn't love Charlie Brown, right? He's such an iconic, And we're like, okay, so let's take a look. We kept reading the script, and within like 5 pages into the script, we were laughing because it was such a funny way.
Okay.
How to see those characters dealing with those issues. So we got the script, and we read the ending, and by the ending, I was crying because it is a happy ending, but it's like it teaches you how to be yourself, like finding yourself.
Wow.
And I showed it to my cast members. They liked it, and we had auditions, and those went pretty well.
Oh,
but
that's
the
cool.
script itself is not only a comedy, but it also teaches you a lesson at the end. And it makes you think. That's what made it important for me. Like, I didn't want just the ah-ha-ha. No, I wanted that, and like, oh, you know what? It stayed in my head. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
At the end of the play.
Yours has a little bit of Shakespeare. It's a little bit more serious.
I wouldn't say it's more serious.
Okay.
It's about the same amount of seriousness, but with a lot less of the intended comedy to it. It takes some elements of Shakespeare and it twists them and fits them. I don't know if you've ever read A Midsummer Night's Dream, but in that Shakespeare play, you have a fairy king and a fairy queen who are fighting over a little Indian boy that the queen stole from a human family. Oh. And what my show, King of Shadows, does is it takes the little Indian boy and puts him in modern-day San Francisco. Wow. And he's trying to get other people to believe his story. And it's really a tough decision to make. If someone's telling you that all this magic exists and all this otherworldly, demonic, crazy things can actually happen, sometimes you just want to believe that it's there, and sometimes you want to look away.
I love fairy tales. I wish everything in fairy tales was real. Yeah.
The only thing with that is, the fairy tales come real, and then you've still got the big bad wolf and not just the happily ever after.
And as well as, when I asked her, how did, reading and skimming through a bunch of plays, what caught your eye on this topic that you wanted to do? I
was flipping through a book of modern plays and scenes, different two-person scenes and monologues from different plays, and I looked at several caught my attention. But I found a monologue from this play that is spoken by the character Jessica, and the monologue is about how inevitable the evil in the world can catch up with you, and how scary it is, some of the things that can and do happen to many people out there, and I could relate to it. And I found a copy of the script, and there's something in each of the characters that just struck a chord with me. We're all scared for ourselves and our families. We all want people to believe us, even when there's things that happen that no one wants to say are true. We're all a little misunderstood by our friends and family sometimes, and we all want everything to go our way.
Yeah.
And it just, I couldn't see myself doing any other play.
Oh, that's very exciting. And as far as both of your guys' cast, how did you have a certain people that caught your eye on a certain character? Did you have auditions for it? How did you even think of, oh, I want you to do this part and I want you to do that part, you know?
Well, we ran our auditions at the same time in the same room, and after everyone had auditioned who was interested in auditioning, we sat in the room and argued for 4 hours. Oh my God, over who got to cast whom in which show, and it was a tough fight.
Yeah, there were certain characters that we both saw for our plays, and I think we flipped a coin at one point. We were so desperate because we literally sat there. We're like, I want this character. No, you want this character. And it was hard, but we're happy with who we ended up with, obviously.
We both ended up with perfect actors to fit our roles.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's very interesting. I hope all the viewers who are watching our show today, you guys can come out this weekend and watch the show. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. At what time?
7:30 on Friday and Saturday, 2:30 on Sunday.
All right, guys, don't miss out. And if you did not catch our show this week, make sure you see it every single day, 4 a.m., 10 a.m., 4 p.m., and 10 p.m. If you have any wonderful questions or comments, you can always email us at spotlight@azwestern.edu. That's all we have for you today. Up until next week.